Do you want to achieve the best possible cinematic footage with your Mavic 2? I will show you how. So first things first, you want to get in the camera settings and switch it to manual, because that is the only way how you can achieve cinematic footage. When you leave it on auto, it changes exposure while you film and it's not cinematic at all. For cinematic footage, the exposure and white balance should always be the same. So that's why we use manual mode. In the next section where there's camera icon, I shoot at 4K 25 frames per second because I'm from Europe, and in Europe standard is 25 frames per second or 50 frames per second. So 25 for me. I edit in Premiere, so I'll leave this at MP4. If you're editing on Mac, then MOV might be better for you. White balance always should be custom. So now we can see it's a bit too blue, so let's crank up the kelvins. Okay, so 5.6 looks okay. Always use manual white balance. It's really important because, again, if you use auto white balance, it changes the colors while you shoot. It just messes up your footage. It looks unprofessional and like beginnery like. Also, style. Here we have, I have set the sharpness to +1 because the Mavic 2s tend to do some noise reduction with the sharpness at 0, so I leave it at +1, so there's no noise reduction. If you need to unsharpen the image, you can do it in post. Then contrast and saturation I have at -1, so I have a bit more flatter image. And I record at H.265. I know it's a bit harder for the computer to comprehend this footage. Although while I edit, I usually create proxy files for H.265 footage because, well, my computer just can't run it. So proxy is the way to go. If you like it, you can turn on histogram. It's really helpful to see what kind of exposure you have on your image. Really important for me, at least, is grid with diagonals, because then I can see the center point. It's really good for composition. Really useful. But then the most important settings are in here. Advanced controller settings. Exponential for rotation should be a bit lower because it's desensitizing the sticks. So the movement the controller recognizes is a lot lower. So it's way more easier to do those fine adjustments while rotating. And it's just really useful to have it desensitize the rotation. And throttle up and flying forward or sideways, I leave it at 25 because, well, that's how I like it. Another most important setting is the gimbal settings. This is like super important. Advanced gimbal settings. You want to set your gimbal so it's slow. Gimbal pitch smoothness should be high and gimbal pitch speed should be low, because if you have it like this, it's just way more cinematic. Have you seen those videos where you have like this shot and then suddenly the camera starts like this hard pan down and it just doesn't look cinematic? For cinematic footage, all the movement should be smooth and flowy, like water. Create your shots like water. That's pretty much it. With the zoom, you should also get the ND filters, because with the ND filters, you can keep your shutter speed at twice as much as the frame rate, because that is the way to get the most natural looking motion blur in your video. Currently it's quite bright outside and I don't have the ND filters for the zoom right now because, well, they haven't yet arrived, and I have to keep my shutter really high at 640. So if I do really close moving shots, it will look jittery. So get the ND filters, definitely. It will improve the look of your footage. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was useful for you. You can follow me at Instagram, the Sky High Films. Be sure to like this video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel for more Mavic 2 related content and more filmmaking stuff. And remember, fly safe.